In the last video, we talked about right angle mirror systems and the fact that if I have two mirrors perpendicular to each other with some object right here, then we actually end up getting three distinct images, all equidistant from the mirror's surface. These distances are all equivalent. This is identical to this is identical to this, and that is the same as that. In this video, we're going to talk about a hypothetical situation in which this angle is not 90 degrees. And the answer is actually pretty simple. No, you don't have to draw a complicated ray diagram and spend hours figuring it out. All you do is use this formula right here. Use this formula to figure out the number of images. So let me document that for you. N represents the number of images, which is what we're trying to find. This is the Greek letter theta. Greek letter theta. It represents angle measurement, so the angle between your two mirrors. So 360 over theta minus 1. Now keep in mind that 360 is the number of degrees in a circle. So this is 360, half is 180, a quarter is 90, just in case you needed to review that. Okay, so this formula right here can be applied to a right angle system. So the angle is 90, so if I want to find the number of images, I plug in 90 for my angle measurement. And I find out that 36 over 9 is 4, and 4 minus 1 is 3. But what if I had a situation like this where the angle measurement wasn't 90? Here I believe the angle measurement is 60 degrees. 60 degrees. So if I wanted to use that formula, which I'll rewrite, then you substitute your theta, which is 60, and then you subtract 1. Well, these zeros cancel out. 36 over 6 is 6. 6 minus 1 is 5. And you actually observe that. You see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 images, where this one is kind of a combination between the left half of one and the right half of the other. So what does all of this mean? Well, I want you to take a look at this formula and the fact that if my angle measurement was 90 degrees, we got 3 images. If my angle measurement were, let's say, 60, we got 5 images. If it's 30 degrees, you would get 11 images. Okay, and if it were something like 10 degrees, so we're talking about two mirrors that are really close together and putting an object right here, you'd get 35 images. Quite a lot. Now, what's happening over here is we are going toward 0 degrees, toward an angle measurement of 0 degrees, and that's kind of a funny concept. I guess not funny as much as interesting. Okay, so what does 0 degrees mean in terms of angle measurements? Okay, well, 0 degrees doesn't necessarily mean that we have two mirrors stacked on top of each other. It just means that we have two mirrors that never intersect. In other words, they're parallel, if you've learned that in geometry. So in other words, they can go on and on forever. They can make lines, and they will never intersect or touch. If I place an object right here, how many images will we have if the angle is 0 degrees? Well, as I'm going to 0 degrees on this side, what's happening over here? Well, my number of images keeps increasing. This is 3 to 5 to 11 to 35, and this is going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger until I eventually get infinity. And you will see that I get an image over here, here, and it keeps repeating and so on and so forth to infinity. In fact, you've seen this if you've ever been in a situation where there's a room with a mirror and another mirror. You just keep seeing yourself to infinity on both sides. It's actually really cool. I encourage you to do that at one point. All right, well, this formula right here, which is all I'm going to require you to understand, think about it this way. Here's more of an abstract algebra idea. What if my angle measurement was 0? Well, you can't just plug in 0. You can't divide by 0. That's not a thing. But what you can do is you can take something like 10, and you could keep dividing it by smaller and smaller numbers. Okay? And if you keep doing that, you get 1, 2, 5, 10, 20. This keeps increasing. So I am approaching 0 in the denominator. I'm essentially dividing by nothing. So if you're asking how much of a really, really tiny amount goes into this really big amount. So it's kind of like, hey, how many teaspoons are in the ocean? Okay, well, pretty much an infinite amount, or at least something that looks like infinity. That's kind of why you see an infinite number of images from both sides. Anyway, that's all I'm going to require you to understand. I just want you to understand this formula and how to use it. In the next video, I want you to watch a video by a subscriber or a YouTuber named Vsauce. He makes great science videos, and in this one, we're going to talk about the hypothetical situation of what if you were in something called a spherical mirror? What would that look like? And then we're going to move on to a little discussion on introducing the concept of a curved mirror. So I hope you stick around for those videos, and I hope this was helpful.